Joining us today live on set, a special guest.
What's up, Moto people? Welcome to the Moto Chat-Show. My name is Neil Meekins, and today my special guests, my special guests are two people. They are traveling around the world right now. They hail from America. Their names are Travis and Chantil, and they go by the Instagram name of viajarMOTO. So let's head straight over and let's see what these guys have been up to, especially in this world. Difficult times at the moment, and yet they're riding around the world in the middle of this pandemic. So what's up, guys? How you doing?
How we looking, Neil?
Yeah, you look good, man.
I did my hair for you.
Nicely shaved, nicely shaved.
We're just at a hostel with our camp chairs.
Excellent. So just one thing, I've got Travis and Chantil, but is it Jill or
Gil?
Gil, yeah, just
Gil.
a G. Gil, yep.
Gil?
Like the fish Gil.
How attractive. Guys, it's sometimes nice, I always find, to meet a biker on the road and you sit down in a restaurant or a cafe or even by the roadside and you say, hey, you know, you start talking and all of a sudden these stories come out of nowhere.
Like,
Yeah, and it's like, what the, you did what? And I love that. That's what this show is about. That's what I want it to be about.
Okay.
So, without further ado, where are you guys from?
The United States.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're one of the rare U.S. people in Europe right now.
I tell you, yeah. Whereabouts in the States?
I'm from Colorado, so the Mile High State, kind of in the center.
Yep, and I grew up in Idaho.
Kind of western U.S., mountainous, lots of camping, wide open land.
And then we've moved a lot, so we don't really have another destination after we got married. So
Yeah, we travel a lot.
So, and it's bike travel particularly, isn't it?
No, bike travel for us is
Just
pretty
started.
recent. Yeah, we're probably just discovered motorcycling 5 years ago.
5 years ago, yeah.
Okay, so you're like, yeah, so my wife and I, we about 3 years ago, and then it wasn't until I got a lot older that we decided to go. Same as you guys.
Yeah, for sure. That's how we looked at it too. We're like, oh, those are two-wheel death machines. Why would we want one of those? But then once we got into it, yeah, it's infectious, as you can see.
It is so infectious.
Yeah.
Like we got a scooter for our boy so he could transport a little bit faster, and so he could just go around the island right there in Coronado. And so we're like, I'm gonna try it. So we started driving. So I had to get myself one so we could ride together. And then he went and got himself a motorcycle, and I stole that motorcycle, and he had to get him a new one.
You stole his motorcycle.
I did.
Well, like, it's unusual, but it's really refreshing to see it when couples are actually sharing this together, because that's we get as much a buzz about doing it together as actually, you know, using the bikes. I mean, we just love it, and it's unusual, but it's becoming more used. More and more couples are starting to get into biking. So, Travis, what made you decide, it's not a death machine, I want to get on one of those and I want to ride it around the world? What was the spurring moment?
I think it was the scooters. Like they were Honda Ruckuses. They're only 50cc little scooters, but if you ever see the Honda Ruckus, I think in Europe it's called the Honda Zoom.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this utilitarian metal-looking scooter with big headlights, and riding those around was just complete joy, complete fun. Like you just had a hard time wiping the smile off my face every time I'm cruising this thing around. So.
Cool.
Then it just kind of matured. Somebody said scooters are the gateway drug to motorcycles.
Right.
So,
okay. Yep. I can see. Yep. I get that.
So for us, yeah, we moved on to motorcycles, and
Well, he started reading stories and all the cool things that you can do on motorcycles, and that's what got us into the off-roading one. I mean, sorry, the multi.
Yeah, the adventure riding kind of thing, the dual sport stuff.
was your first? So Gil, so you stole the bike off of Travis.
I did.
Yes.
And then you never. So which one of you guys did their license first and went out and got a bike, or did you do it both together?
Together,
yeah.
we did it together.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Gil, what was the first kind of non-scootery bike that you got?
Well, I had one when I was little. When I was a little kid, my dad had one,
Okay.
and I got to just be on the back, whatever. But we didn't do it very long because it would break down so much, so we didn't really get into it. And that was just like a little bit of it when I was younger. I was probably 12, 13.
Yep.
And then we didn't ever do it until the scooter again. And I'm telling you, the scooters brought so much joy to us. Like we would have every minute we would go, okay, let's just go to the store. We'll just go out to see the ocean. We'll just go, and we just jumped on the bikes all the time, the scooter.
Yeah, we contemplated riding scooters across the country.
We did.
And just enjoying it, packing them up. But I think to answer your question, the G650 is the same. It's the first bike we ever owned, and it's still the same bike we currently have. So we only own these one bikes.
Right. Yep.
Now I believe your bikes have names, don't they, guys?
They do.
Yeah, it's interesting how a bunch of plastic, metal, and rubber kind of it has a personality for sure.
Yeah. Especially
when it takes you across some wonderful adventures that we've had. We've had adventures of a lifetime for sure.
And we do have two bikes. So, I mean, even riding Travis's bike, when I got on his bike, it's so much a different feel than it is on my bike.
And yet they're the same bike? They're the same?
Yeah, like I have the clutch and the handlebars really tuned for me and things like that.
Yeah. It's a different feel on my bike than it is his.
They have their own personalities. When I walk past my bike, I will sometimes pat it. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're okay? Yeah.
When I thought of a bike name, my bike is red, so I asked my mom. I was like, "Hey, Mom, I know I rode horses as a kid. I think I learned to ride horses before I rode a bicycle."
Right. Okay.
And I said, "What was the first horse I ride? You remember the name?" He's like, "Yeah, it was a little red pony called Apache." And I was like, "All right, perfect. My bike is red. I'm gonna name my bike Apache in honor of the first horse that I ever rode as a kid." So
awesome.
That's how it kind of came.
And mine is the same. I rode. I had a horse we called it Chocolate.
Chocolate, yeah.
And so it was brown, but of course, white chocolate is perfect. So
excellent. Okay. So now we've got the formal introductions out the way.
Yes.
So, guys, you're adventure bikers. You are trailblazers. You are, like you said, one of the very few, if probably the only couple. I don't know. Maybe you've met people on your travels from America, traveling through Europe in the middle of a pandemic.
Sure. Yeah.
Guys, are you crazy? Let's come back to that. When did you start adventure riding? Because, like, I have got a list. You've been to Iceland, Mexico, obviously America, Scotland, the Canary Islands.
Yeah.
Guys, Gran Canaria, Tenerife. Yeah,
for sure.
So what was it? What was the first time you one of you turned to the other and said, "You know what? I want to travel around the world." Do you remember that?
I think you drove more of that.
We started that because we lived on a sailboat for 11 years.
Okay.
And so we've always wanted to travel around the world. We've always talked about it and just adventurous. And then once we hit the understanding of bikes, then we were like, okay, let's go ahead and take the bikes while we're younger.
Yeah.
And so then we get older, we'll take the sailboat again.
Okay.
Once we get older, we can go back to cruising lifestyle, get another boat, maybe get an RV or a van or something. But we thought motorcycling would be primo, and it's unique. Of course, it's a unique way to see the world that you can't recreate any other way.
Right.
So we decided on that.
So where did you go first? Where did you go first?
Well, I got a job in Germany. So it was a 2-year job. So we basically liquidated our lives, sold the boat, put everything we owned on the 2 motorcycles, and said, well, let's make a journey out of moving to Germany. So that's what we did. And of course, Iceland is a nice little in between the two continents.
Yeah.
So we shipped the bikes to Iceland, and then flew out to meet him a month later, and then the rest of it was we've been on motorcycles.
Yep. Well, our first journey outside the United States was Mexico, because that's when we were just kind of living there in California, and we're like, let's just go to Mexico.
Yeah.
But that's how we have our name, though.
That's how viajarMOTO kind of came about, is because for us, traveling is the culture, the people, the foods, all the different things. And we wanted kind of a multicultural name. So we chose viajarMOTO for kind of in remembrance of our first country we visited, Mexico.
That's cool.
Baja's beautiful, though. We want to go back to Baja for sure.
Back to Baja. You've been to Scotland and Ireland. Have you done England as well?
Yeah, we did a 23-day kind of fast-paced tour around all those countries.
Awesome.
But we didn't get to see the Highlands of Scotland because of course we got rained out. So we chose a little more eastern route so we could avoid the rain.
Okay.
So we definitely want to go back. There's plenty of little places we want to see still in UK and Scotland and London and all that.
We are actually roasting right now. We've had the hottest weather for years. It is absolutely incredibly hot. I've got 2 fans on me at the moment. I wasn't built for this heat. Oh, awful.
Yeah.
How is it?
I didn't hear you guys having.
Go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's raining right now. Northern Spain is actually comfortable. That's the reason we're in the hotel today.
Right.
Because once we were retired, we said, if we can just wait out rain, we're not going to ride in the rain anymore. So.
I don't blame you. Why? It's not worth the risk, is it, sometimes?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You want to see the beauty of places when you're traveling, when you're doing it in the rain. I mean, the rain can be good, don't get me wrong, but you want to see the beauty of the place. How is Spain right now? Obviously, they're going through the pandemic. What's it like riding there? Have you been there long, or?
Have we been there long?
How long you been
we
there?
Got stuck here.
Oh, you are stuck there.
Before the pandemic.
Since March.
Oh my word.
So we were traveling through eastern Spain and then on our way to Cartagena in the Murcia region on the south side.
That's when lockdown.
And then like it hit us like a ton of bricks. Like, I mean, it hit Europe kind of like a ton of bricks too. Yeah. I think we kind of kept our ear to the news, but never expected that we would be locked down for 93 days, whatever it was. Yeah. A travel ban. So we were on a strict travel ban, like quarantine, not a ban, but literally a quarantine for 2 months before people were even allowed to go outside and exercise and walk.
Yeah. So staying in their house only for shopping
and then they slowly, as things improved, they slowly went through the phases. And then once we reached phase 3, and then the end of the state of alarm on June 21st, then the borders were open again between regions, and we were free. We were free to travel Spain. So Spain was generous enough to they probably did it too because they knew they'd be inundated, but they literally gave everybody a 90-day extension for anybody that was trapped in their country during the crisis.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So yes, we'll be here for a little longer.
Yeah.
So you're going to
We
be
still
real.
got. We
You'll be
don't know our plans after that though.
You'll be real aficionados. You could probably write a travel log just about Spain, can't you?
We've
been quite
seen a lot of
places.
Spain. Yeah.
Have you guys
It's
been?
beautiful. Like really, if you're trapped's probably the wrong word.
Yeah.
If you're going to be, I guess, in a country like Spain's a great country to be.
Oh,
Spend 90 days in, for sure.
Well, us Brits, we're all over Spain, and I think for the English, it's our favourite country. You know, there's as many of us there now, I think, as there are in England. But yeah, it is one of our favourite places. But did you guys get to go to Portugal at all?
We just finished. We traveled through Portugal. Yeah, so we're on the north. Currently, we're on the northwest side of Spain.
Okay.
We
What did
spent 2 weeks in Portugal.
What did you think of traveling in Portugal? What's your kind of lowdown for bikers that want to head down that way? Because I've heard it's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
We stayed by the coast because of the weather. It was pretty hot inland, so we stayed by the coast. And like the difference between southern Portugal and northern Portugal, huge difference.
In what way? The riding or the people? Or?
Just the landscape. The landscape is more hilly and trees up north, and then flatter and I don't know, beaches and
a lot more beaches on the south side.
And we found a cork tree for the first time. That was pretty cool.
Cork tree.
Yeah, cork tree.
A cork tree.
Yeah,
How they make cork? So they said that in Portugal, cork comes out. It's enough to produce for 10 years. I'm sorry, I forget. Whatever.
Yeah,
it's
but
pretty
it's
cool.
a while.
Cork trees are pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. So that's something new. I think Portugal, for somebody that only speaks English, our Spanish is okay.
Yeah.
But Portugal was a little easier for travelers because I think more Portuguese speak English. So
Really?
that's an advantage.
Yeah, definitely.
I found out that in Spain, especially the rural areas, it's a challenge. Most people don't speak English.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But in Portuguese, a lot of people speak English.
So it is a little easier to get around, I think, in Portugal.
Do you prefer to camp, or are you booking into little hotels, just turning up on the night? You know, what's kind of
we
under the
would
stars?
love to, yeah, exactly. We would love to camp, like, but honestly, we prefer wild camping. I'm not really set up on European style camping where they jam a bunch of people close together in close proximity, and you have neighbors right next to you and kids playing. And so our idea of camping is more to be isolated and out in the world, out in nature. Yeah. We're doing a bit of both though. We have a tent. We have all that with us. Yeah. Okay. I mean, our bikes are set up so that we could travel through like Mongolia or Africa. So they're set up so that we have all that equipment if we needed it. Yep. But we've been doing a lot of Airbnbs. Are you going to Mongolia?
We want to, yes.
We'd like to. Yes. We'll have to see. Yeah.
We have to watch this pandemic and see what happens with it.
You got to ride the road of, is it the road of bones?
The road of bones.
That's true. Yeah, it's one of the famous roads.
That's what it is.
Did you see Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman do it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Of course.
long way around, long way down, and now a long way up. Or
do you think they really done that on electric Harley bikes, the new one?
I think so. Yeah, I think they did it.
Yeah. Is it a scam? Are they scamming us all? Are they going to do it on BMWs or Triumphs or?
No, I think they pulled it off. Apparently, they had to. I've heard it's coming out next month, but I've heard that they actually had to go ask locals if they could plug them in, things like that. So.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But I still don't. I heard someone say that we have a saying in England. It's called winding people up.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Maybe. Yeah, and Charlie and Ewan are good at winding people up. So watch this space. I mean, I don't know. They've got the money to be able to trick us, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. There's obviously some production value in that, but on the flip side, how many people have been influenced to travel the world because of their travel series? So that's a good thing too.
And how many motorbike companies kick themselves to death for not sponsoring them?
Yeah, KTM, sure.
KTM, ridiculous. Guys, what about the safety aspects, the riding around? You know, your two Americans, you know, out in Europe. Have you come across anybody who's taken advantage of you, or I mean, generally when I speak to people about this, yeah, usually even like lone female riders, we seem to always get positive feedback. Have you ever had anything negative?
No, we've had time.
No?
Never.
It's always in the back of your mind. Like we just recently, 2 weeks ago, we hiked the Camino de Santiago from the Portuguese border to Santiago. And of course we had to leave our motorcycles. So it was we left it for a week in a parking lot in Tui and put all the locks on them, put a cover on them and hope for the best. And they were just fine. So no problems.
Yeah. Don't do that in England.
Yeah.
No, that's what I heard too.
I've heard.
Yeah. It'll gone.
Yeah.
I think it's getting a little bit better here, but we did go through a few years of, you know, young fellas just cutting off the chains and just taking the bikes in the middle of daylight when everyone's around.
Yeah.
And you know, the cities are worse, but you know, it's just one of them things, I'm afraid. Have you done France yet?
We did. So when we lived in Germany, we would do like day trips. So we did the whole. In France, we did most of the northern side. Yeah. We did a route called the Road to Freedom, or Liberty Route. Sorry, the Liberty Route.
Yeah, I know this.
We rode basically from Normandy to Bastogne. Yeah. Yeah. Along all the basically towns that were liberated.
Yeah.
So that was a great way to learn about and like personalize some of the history of World War II for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've done that route actually, or very similar, and you know, going to some of the war cemeteries and that they've got there, especially for you guys, you know, from the American side of things, there was a big part of your culture that was taken there and laid down by the guys that gave their lives for us, you know. So it's a good thing to see. I'd encourage, anybody from America to come over to North. In fact, it's got a massive following anyway. I mean, I've been over there, and there's your countrymen are there everywhere, and they come back every year as well, don't they? They come back to do their salute, really, to salute those that came before. But
less and less every year for sure, though.
When you come over to Europe, did you get your bikes? Did you have them transported over on a ship or air freight?
Yeah, they got shipped to Iceland, and then once they're in Iceland, you're home free. There's a ferry from Iceland to Faroe Islands to Denmark, and then you're everywhere else. You take a ferry.
So we are almost on something we discovered again on Atlas Obscura called Utopix.
Did you do Scandinavia as well? Did you go into them countries?
No, we want to so bad. That was our plan.
It was on our list, so
Okay.
it's still on our bucket list.
Yeah.
If we could figure out a way to get up there now, we'd make it work. But unfortunately, we're kind of limited to Spain with the 90-day extension that they gave us. So,
How'd you get on with things like washing your clothes and,
So we bring what, 3 pairs of underwear, and then you could do them in the sink. But honestly, we've found out that Airbnbs don't cost that much more than camping.
Yeah, and they usually have a washer and laundry there.
So like for $35 a night, normally they have some facility there. And in worst case, if we had to, we would just we'd wash them in the sink.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about Airbnbs or camping. If I say to my wife, I'm taking the tent, she's not too happy. If I tell her we're staying in an Airbnb, it's like, when we going?
When we going?
So we call it, or glamping as well. Have you heard that term? Glamping.
Yeah.
Something that's all, something that's already set up. We've done our festivals and we've done our camping time, and now, we're getting a bit older and the knees don't want to bend down so much and the back's stiff in the morning. You know what it's like. And then when you throw in a few 100 miles a day on a motorbike as well, it's quite challenging. It's quite challenging to do that kind of riding. But have you got any anecdotes or stories to tell us about something particular where you went and was surprised by something, or you saw something that people would like, you've got to go to this place because it's just breathtaking, particularly while you're in Europe, because most of the people that listen to this are in Europe. So
it's like picking your favorite country. It's hard to do.
It is. There's so many amazing things
There's so many memories that you have from all the different places you've been.
Tell us some from the different places. You don't have to kind of put it in order. Just
we could start with Baja. So Baja for us was very much the United States. The headlines that we have for our neighbors to the south isn't necessarily positive.
Don't go there.
It's very much focused on the drug problems they have, the corruption and all that. It's not very positive.
No.
So when you tell people, hey, we're going to go to Mexico, your family and friends are like, have you lost your mind? What are you doing? Why would you go there? And once you get to Mexico and the further south you get from the border, you just realize, like, this is a wonderful country with loving people. Who naturally don't have all the luxuries that we have on the other side of the border, but they have a wonderful, loving heart and a big smile, and they're the most giving people we've come across. So.
Right off the bat, I knew I loved you. You had that sparkle in your eyes, some kind of shimmer in your presence, unlike no other I had met. You got me spinning out of context, not really sure what I should do. This is the reason I am leaving. I can't live with or without you. Oh, won't you sing to me? There ain't no other way but to sing to me, as simple as I say.
I guess that through your travels, you're experienced travelers, and a lot of people aren't, but you're starting to see what life really is all about. And it's that it's not your possessions and the material, big house and the car and the holidays. It's actually being with people and just enjoying life and being in the moment.
So true.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, that's absolutely true. You nailed it exactly. Like, that's, I think, what we love about traveling.
Yeah.
I think we've noticed, though, since COVID that there's a little less of the personality or humanity kind of involved, because there's people are more, I wouldn't say scared, but they're
standoff.
Because of the pandemic, they're more standoffish. Yeah. So we have quite a lot of people will look at our bikes, and you could tell they want to talk to us, but they don't because everybody has a mask on, and you kind of have this. Yeah. So we need to figure out this pandemic and kind of move things on, and I think travel will kind of go back to what it hopefully was before, where people could high five each other and give hugs and
man.
You know, all the brotherly and sisterhood of motorcycling could kind of return back to where it was before.
Guys, have you seen Sturgis? It's going on right now.
Right now it is.
Like, you would not think anything was happening in the world, but Sturgis is just like probably more people than ever. What do you think about that?
Well,
I mean, have you been? I've never been.
See. No, it's I don't know if it's kind of the adventure motorcycles kind of bag. It's definitely kind of more the cruisers or yeah. I would say Harleys and Indians are kind of the king of motorcycles that go there.
Yeah.
They do have an event where adventure riders will kind of go and experience it, but then they have a bunch of other stuff where we go off road and we go hit the trails in South Dakota, some great trails, and just get outside and enjoy it and avoid all the craziness.
I mean, I sit in both camps actually. I have an adventure bike, but I also have a big cruiser bike as well. So I can kind of go either way. It depends how I'm feeling. The other good thing about Mexico, of course, is the food.
Primo, yes, yeah.
Street tacos,
like find the dumpiest looking place, and it has the most delicious street tacos you can imagine, and they're cheap, like literally US dollars. You get 5 street tacos and a Coca-Cola
for $1.50,
or $3 or something. Yeah, it's totally awesome. So.
And it must make. I mean, I've been to Mexico. All right, it was a bit more of the commercial side, but I tried to go in and have a look around and stuff. But it kind of starts making you think that you living more plainly is actually just so nice. You get so much more.
It
is less stress.
That's true. Yeah, and I've heard that of other. We haven't experienced South America or Africa, and I think once we get to those places, I think we'll even see that more abundantly. Because that's what almost every traveler that leaves those countries says.
If I was going to give you a couple of tips for South America, I would definitely tell you you've got to get into Cuba, which is easier for Americans now.
Yeah,
and Brazil. Couple of places I've been, and they are phenomenal. You will love them. Absolutely. If you love Mexico and Spain, you will love Cuba, and there's so many places you can go in the world, right?
For sure.
So many places. The world is full of fun.
We got another story about Iceland. Iceland was probably one of the hardest countries we've traveled.
Why is that?
It wasn't because of the rain. I think all the miles putting on our bike. So while we went through Canada, I actually shredded all the teeth off my front sprocket.
Oh.
So I think the issue was the bolt wasn't torqued down properly, and over the 3,000 kilometers, it rattled enough where all the teeth were shredded off the sprocket and the drive shaft. Yeah. So since we were in Canada, somewhere remote, we decided that the bikes have to be on a ferry in 3 days. So the options were limited, so we decided to weld it. So we welded the sprocket to the drive shaft, and then
because the sprocket was still good.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
So then we made our way. We put the bikes on the ferry and hoped for the best, and then reached Iceland, and then drove on that welded sprocket until we got to Northern Iceland.
Yeah.
And then it broke again.
Yeah. And then I towed him for about 30 kilometers.
Yeah, she towed me the 30 kilometers to a welder who was extremely reluctant to do it. He's like, I'm not doing this. There's no warranty. And I think we pleaded enough with him, and we looked helpless enough with puppy eyes to realize, like,
sort of like,
this is our only option.
Yeah,
so
help me.
Yeah.
All right, tourist, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So he welded it, and then that weld got us all the way to Germany.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it was fairly expensive to
Pull the engine.
to grind it off, and then pull the engine and replace the drive shaft. But at least got us to Germany. So
Yeah.
it's kind of an interesting story. And then in the Faroe Islands, the bike got blown over, and I broke the clutch cable.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not the cable, but broke the clutch lever. The clutch lever, the cable actually broke in Iceland as well. So I had to we couldn't find a replacement cable. So I just went to some bicyclists, and bicyclists always carry extra cables because they're traveling around, and we were able to run the cable from a bicycle to my clutch, and that got us to Germany.
Yeah.
And then the 10
millimeter wrench.
A 10 millimeter wrench was my clutch handle all the way through Denmark and Germany.
I love it.
But it got us
Good
there.
Good stories.
So like Iceland was a really hard country to travel because of all the trouble we had.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, like, look at all the things we learned to overcome adversity, and the bikes got us there.
It kind of opens your eyes, doesn't it, when people say, oh, I've had a really hard day riding today, and all they've just done is just rode. They haven't had to fix their sprockets or their cables or, and then you say to them, you try doing it like this way. I rode 300 miles with, such and such mission. Or I remember once having an old car, it was an old Ford car over here in the UK, and I went to pull away one night away from a club, and I hadn't been drinking, and I went like that, and the gear stick came out in my hand, and I'm looking at my friend going, and then I go, well, what do I do? And we managed to wiggle it back into place, and he had to keep the pressure on it as we were driving, so like the stick shift, so he had to, he changed gear while I pushed in the clutch, and that's how we got home.
We got it home. Yeah.
I love it.
Things like that.
Stories are fun, even though it kind of gets to it could be frustrating at the time, but in hindsight, those stories are great, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. At the time, it wasn't so funny, but afterwards, fantastic.
Exactly.
So So you've done Mexico. You've Baja in Mexico, particularly.
Yeah, which is only a small slice of Mexico. I feel like Mexico is still a country you want to experience a lot more of, for sure.
But the problem is people will go for this is what I see happening now. Tourists, the general tourists, will go to Acapulco and they'll go to Cancun, like I did, and then they'll go around and see a little bit. But there's this. I think motorcycling is having a big adventure resurgence. Yeah. It's taken its time, probably since Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman kicked it off, like, what was that, like nearly 20 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, it's been a while, for sure, yeah.
And now you're getting more and more people that are traveling and actually doing something with their holidays and traveling around. Like someone was saying to me the other day, go to Guatemala, man. You got to ride around Guatemala. It's fantastic. And I'm like, really? God, man, I never even thought of Guatemala as a place to go to. It's fantastic. So, there's a big resurgence in people doing things, and it's great to see that they're doing it on a motorbike and that people are actually like, it's not as bad as you think. Why have you been told for years it's dangerous to get on a motorbike? Like, it's dangerous to walk across the road. So Mexico aside, we've spoke about Spain. You obviously love riding in Spain. You spoke about Portugal, how it's different north to south, and I guess it's good to get a view of both if you're going to go there because of the differences. You spoke about Iceland. Now you said Iceland was challenging.
For sure, weather and breakdowns was the biggest reason.
Yeah,
beautiful though. Like
every corner you turn around, you're like,
it's incredible. So
Right.
I would definitely recommend the country for any motorcyclist. Just be properly prepared that you're gonna get rained on. It's gonna be cold. There's gonna be some pretty miserable days. But then put it in perspective. There were days when we were like, man, this is miserable. I'm cold. I'm wet. Yeah. But then we would ride past some people on bicycles
and you say,
with all their stuff
so
on pioneers, and we're like, I guess it ain't that bad. I'm plugged into a 12-volt outlet with my heated jacket, so it's not that bad. So
always someone worse off than that. They're all
exactly.
But the beauty in Iceland is amazing.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Different terrains. You have volcanoes there. You have ocean there. You have just
gorgeous country. Gorgeous.
Lots of ice.
Yeah, we have
a little bit of ice.
A little bit of ice.
We
a lot of Vikings. That's where it all kind of
little tiny birds.
But it was easy to travel. Learning English got you around just fine.
Okay.
Even in the small places. So
yeah.
I thought it was our first European country that we traveled on a motorbike, and we were grateful for that.
Awesome.
I love the romantic Strasse, they call it in Germany.
I was gonna ask you about Germany. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a route in Germany. They actually created it so they could have more tourists, but it's just for going from castle to castle to small town to small town. Yeah. And there's some really, really cool places in that route that is just stunning. Like there's this one city that has a wall all the way around it, and you
built in the Roman era.
Yeah. And then also, of course, the Disney Castle is there. And at the end of the route, the
Germans
Disney Castle.
Call it that.
No.
Yeah.
No, they probably aren't. But
did you do like the Black Forest and that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's a great motorcycle road, the 500 there. It is totally sweet to ride through that area.
I was actually I was talking to a guy the other day. He's a very mature gentleman, should we say, and he's been riding motorbikes, ever since the 1940s or something. He's been all around the world. And I said, what's the one place, if you had to choose somewhere where you would ride out your days, where would it be? And he said Germany, without a question. Yeah, he said I would do Germany. He said I'd be quite happy there, and he advised me go there. Of all the places he's ever been, like I said, he's been all around the world. He said there. What about places like China? Would you go to China?
Well, as Americans,
it's a challenge.
I know. That's why I'm asking.
The biggest, I would go to China for sure, because I think there's definitely countries for America. People that traveled through Iran say it's one of the most welcoming and loving countries. People are incredibly nice. They said the hardest thing about getting through Iran is that you can't make good time because everybody wants to stop and invite you over for lunch or dinner.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
The thing is, we'd go anywhere they allow us to go.
Yeah. I think China would be a very similar thing. It'd be wonderful. The problem with China though is it just doesn't allow you to just hop on a motorcycle, show up at the border and say, hey, I'm going to travel freely. They just don't allow that.
No,
everything has to be very strictly regimented.
Yeah.
It has to be under a tour program.
Yeah.
So Chantil experienced this as well.
A little bit in Tibet. I went to Tibet with called Girls on Top, and it was all of us girls. There was 25 of us girls, and we rode from Kathmandu to the top of Everest Base Camp.
Wow.
And then we rode back again. An amazing adventure.
With Steph, right?
Yeah, with Steph Siobhan from England there. But
right. Girls on Top.
Girls on Top, yeah.
Were they a tour company or a group or?
It was a tour company. Steven Siobhan is the one who sponsored it, and then it's called Nomadic Nights. She joined in with Nomadic Nights, and they put it together. But it was an only girl trip, and so they had in Tibet there was checkpoints after checkpoints, and they monitor all of our routes, and we had to stay in certain hotels, and we had to make it to that spot in the day before. So we had a tour guide the whole time with us. We couldn't be separated from the tour guide.
Yeah.
From the guy that was from Tibet. So.
Yeah. But that was a neat experience because Steph Siobhan is just one of those individuals that a pieneer for women as well. She literally traveled all the continents. She rode her Honda 250 even to Antarctica.
She's got a book out. She's getting ready to publish it. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to bring.
Sorry, what's her name again? It's
Steph Siobhan.
Steph Siobhan. Okay, so we'll
Siobhan's with an S.
Yeah, but it sounds like it's his bike that's always breaking down, Gil.
Yeah,
I know, right?
She's the one that's towing me around.
Yeah, you're holding her back, Travis, man.
There is a lady in the U.S. though. It's like I think there's quite a lot of pioneer women that,
Yeah.
especially in the BMW community. Jocelyn Snow, I think is her last name. Jocelyn.
Yeah.
She's very small and petite,
Yeah.
but she
that girl is
rides
amazing.
around a GS 1250, 1200,
Yeah.
and she's competed in BMW events all over the world.
Yeah.
And she literally shows that, hey, you can do it. Women, you can do this. You could ride a big adventure bike and have a great time. I think people kind of immediately assume, that she's riding pillion.
Yeah.
They're like,
And
what?
then-
You have 2
and then
bikes?
they get back there and like, oh, you have 2 bikes. It was like, yeah, Chantil would never ride pillion behind me. Never.
My Lizzie wouldn't. She would be horrified to get on the
Right.
Well, the thing is,
she's got more courage. Like sometimes if we go to a town, she'll ride pillion, like just to save gas.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm gritting my teeth the whole way.
Yeah,
But
it's
you
not
have
good.
courage. Like I think pillion riders are one of the most courageous people I know. Just to trust that person in front of them. So
Yeah, I told him we could do it on one bike if he was on back.
All right. So you two would be jockeying for who's going to be up front, would
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I think
And
we'd
I
be
don't-
exactly the same.
I don't have the courage to ride on the back of another bike.
No, I don't like that. No, there's something very strange about that. I think bikes are made for one person. And we was literally having this conversation the other day, and I said, she said, the only way she would be a passenger on my bike is if in an emergency. If the bike
Sure.
breaks down, there's a problem, we've got to get to a town, get on the back.
Yeah.
But that would be it. So after Spain, where are you off to? If you get out.
That's the big question.
That is the
That's our
question.
debating question right now.
Yeah. So we're not. Our whole life is on our motorcycles right now. So a lot of people ask, well, why don't you just go back to the United States? Well,
They won't let us out of the United States.
there's really nothing to go
Okay.
back to.
Yeah.
And going back to the U.S. would just get us back to a place where we don't have our bikes. We don't have a home. We
Yeah.
don't have a vehicle. So those aren't very great options for us. So we're toying with the idea, the UK. We might have to winter in the UK just for a little bit and start over again next year.
Yep.
If we can, we'd like to make it to the Croatia or the Balkans,
Yeah.
but that's kind of a what if right now. Things aren't really going well over there either.
I've been to Croatia, and another person I interviewed the other week, she said that one of her best ever rides was coming down the coast of Croatia. She said it
Oh
was
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
absolutely
Croatia.
amazing. Yeah.
I hear that it's amazing there.
Yeah.
So I got to see while she was in Nepal, Kathmandu. I planned a trip
trip?
with a friend of mine where we rode the Iliad raid. I don't know
Oh,
if you've
yeah.
heard of it. The Iliad, where we ride from basically Greece to
Greece.
Croatia. So we rode through the Balkans, and it's basically an off-road, more enduro type of thing with dirt bikes.
Right.
And
cool.
they just basically give you the route, and they say it's not a race as much, but a lot of people use that as a precursor to practice for a race.
Yep.
Because it's long distances. You're doing 350 kilometers of dirt road in a day between places. So I ended up doing that in our 650, which was a big bike for that.
Yeah.
But it got through it just fine. And then once I reached Croatia, then I put all my luggage back on it, and then I just kind of traveled through all the Alps and did all the Alp passes, 21 of them.
Wow.
Through
that's
Italy, Switzerland,
Switzerland is awesome.
all those countries, and then got back to Germany. So that was a good time. But when I traveled through the Balkans, you only get to enjoy that country for like a day or two when you're riding fast through it. It gave me a taste that I want to see more of the Balkans for sure.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Beautiful country for sure.
Yeah. Oh, New Zealand, I want to go. Australia, I want to go.
Yeah.
I have some rider friends over there that I want to go see.
Wintering in the UK, nothing against the area, but it's a little more north than
It's the opposite of the heat wave you're having now.
we want to.
Yeah. I would have been here now and then go down to Spain or Portugal. You've done it the wrong way, guys.
I know.
Push pins on our map of
Sorry,
places that like we want to go visit. So I was going to share this with you. This is why we feel like we can't end our travels yet, because this little thing here is all the little push pins of places we want to see. And as you can see, that's just Europe. And then you go across all of Asia. Like, there's too many push pins. We can't stop now. We got to go and visit all of these.
Is that your Google Maps?
Yeah,
Yes,
our little
it is.
Google Maps.
Man,
Love Google Maps, don't you?
I don't get very jealous very often, but you know, I am jealous. I am jealous of, not in a bad way, in a good
No,
way.
no.
You know, in
Yeah.
a good way. With respect, what's happening in America right now, you're probably better in Spain. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then you go back and it's all over and it'll be fine.
yeah, we hope.
Yeah.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel for sure. We're
sure.
staying positive.
Yeah.
Speaking of Route 66, though, my son and I did a road trip, just the two of us, some years ago. Epic
Cool.
trip. One of like the best, like, I think just kind of piece of Americana road trip. If we could fly to Chicago and rent like an American motorbike and ride the whole thing all the way to San Bernardino, California, that would be pretty epic. Yeah. Yeah.
How long does
beautiful.
that take? 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
We gave ourselves about 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You could just ride it fast. You could probably
Yeah.
cover it in like 4 days, but you wouldn't be experiencing it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So you gotta eat these big juicy
Hamburgers
hamburgers
and gain lots of weight.
and fries
Milkshakes.
and milkshakes. Like you gotta do the whole thing. So
What bike would you ride that Route 66 on, Travis?
I mean, the question is like, that's a great question that everybody brings up in general. I think the best bike is the one you have.
But
Like, don't work hard to like create and go and get a particular bike so you can enjoy the experience better. I think the experience is going to be the same if you take a monkey bike or you take a Harley
Ruckus.
Davidson. I think, to me though, like a very Americana bike, like a Harley Davidson or an Indian,
Yeah.
would be a pretty awesome experience on Route 66.
Yeah.
I think it would open up a lot of conversation with other people, especially other motorcyclists, because those are the primary bikes you see. But
What about Easy Rider style with a big old chopper bike?
yeah, for sure, why not? Yeah. Go complete comfortable. Why not?
why not?
What about you, Gil? What would you do it on?
Probably an Indian.
An
I love
Indian?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or a Triumph. I
Scout.
love Triumphs too.
But do you know what it is as well? I've got this theory. Human beings form great camaraderie in great adversity.
True.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure.
When you experience something tough with somebody else, they've shared in a very strong part of your life that you're giving your energy up to. And I think that does form a bond. And it's like a relationship, isn't it? With your bike,
Yeah.
with your wife or your girlfriend. You go through the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, guys, on your journey, you must have had some pretty bad times sometimes where you've turned around and gone, I want to go back home. Has that happened?
Well, go back home.
Go
Let's work through this.
I'm done for the day, or like, yeah, look, we're not going any further, or
I gotta take a break.
You know, when you're riding through 6 hours of rain and then your
Yeah.
your waterproof ceramic gear is getting soaked through, your socks are
Yeah.
getting wet, and
Yeah.
and you're like riding, and then something happens to your bike and you're on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere and you're looking
Yeah.
at each other and she's saying to you or he's saying to you, what am I going to do? And you're like,
yeah, exactly, yeah,
you must
yeah.
have had a few of them where you said,
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure. It's the tiny little
Little
things
things
that irritate me, like missing an exit and then having to go like 5 miles out of the way to go back to the exit, or some electronic
failing.
gear isn't working, or my GPS doesn't work. Those are the things that really get me like under my skin. And Chantil has to kind of calm me down because she's the calm one.
Do you know
And,
what? Travis, I used to be so like that until
Yeah.
Lizzie, she said to me this one day, right? She said to me, because I'd always lead. I always seem to lead, and I've got the sat nav, and it goes wrong, or I miss a turning, and I go
Yeah.
wrong, and then I'd get stressed, and I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, but you don't understand, we've got to be at so-and-so. And she said to me, hun, there is never a wrong way on a motorcycle. Never a
love
wrong
it.
way.
all right, yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
become our saying. That's
Yeah.
become our
Never
saying.
wrong way.
There's never a wrong way, not on a motorcycle. Because you know the other thing as well, I don't know if you're superstitious, but if something happens, we see it as a sign. We weren't meant to go that way. We
Yeah,
weren't meant
yeah,
to be
maybe.
there. Yeah. And it's true. And after she said that to me, whenever I go wrong now, I say, well, you told me there's never a wrong way on a motorcycle, so now
let's go explore.
let's go explore. That's the adventure.
So my advice would be somewhat limited, but I think our advice would be just do it. Just plan. Like if it's something you really want to do in your life, then like the last 5 years of our life was kind of dedicated to saving and making sure we had money. So any conscious decision to spend something, we had to make the decision like, hey, is this going to get us closer to our goal of hopping on our motorcycles and riding full time?
Yeah.
And that kind of defined basically how we lived our last 5 years. And now we were able to get enough money together that we could make it happen. And a lot of people, I think, buy into the image like you have to buy this big 1250 GS to go adventure riding, and like you really don't. Like any motorcycle you have, strap some bags to it with some luggage and go and experience it.
Yeah.
It's difficult now, I get it, but there's plenty of like local places too that people are traveling, so experience your local backyard.
Yeah,
the places that you never you said, oh, I'll get to it, and it never happened. Now's the perfect time to go experience those places.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's well said. Yeah, the backyard. I mean, we have some beautiful places in England, and every time I go out, we go to somewhere different, and it's like, wow, I never knew this was here, you know. What about you, Gil? Have you got any final kind of thoughts or messages about traveling around the world?
Mine is kind of the same. I'm just saying, if you have a dream, no matter what your dream is, work for your dream and accomplish it, because once you do, you will pinch yourself almost every day, like, wow, I'm really here. Like, wow, I can't believe I'm here. I worked so hard on this and I can't believe I'm here. And I say that so many times during the day. I'm like, wow, I'm actually traveling with my husband full time, it's together, and this is what I've been waiting for my whole life, you know. But follow your dreams. That's my thing. Follow your dream.
Do you ever even think about when you might stop?
I think we're kind of, we don't want to until we can.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll happen someday, but we're not ready yet. We still have that desire to get out there and to see the world.
You don't have that kind of plan.
I got way too many dots still on my map to see. I can't stop.
Yeah, I saw that, Travis.
I can't stop.
One day I'm going to interview you again, and you say, no, we've done all these, Neil, but we've got these ones now.
Yeah.
Like, different colour. Different colour, yeah.
Well, once we got detained in Spain, then I think we added another 50 or 100 just to Spain alone, because we're like, well, we're in Spain, might as well go see these places. So.
Too much time. The devil has, what is it? The devil makes work for idle hands. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Exactly.
For a lot of us, you're living the dream.
Thank you. Yeah, life is good.
Yeah, guys, I'll let you get back to your life now.
Our life is hanging out, waiting for the weather to clear.
That's not a bad thing, you know. That's not.
No, it's not. Yeah. Editing more videos.
If you're coming up to the UK, let us know. If you get stuck or anything, drop us a line. We'll help you out as best we can. All right. That's what it's all about. Brotherhood and all that.
Awesome.
Sisterhood. And brotherhood.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
So true.
Cheers.
All right, guys. Take care. Look after yourself. See you again soon.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Thank you. Okay, motor people, thanks for watching the show. I hope you all agree there was some great stuff in there from Travis and Gil. I hope their journey continues, and it continues for a very, very long time to come. Two amazing people on an amazing journey. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this and you feel like you're getting value, like, share and subscribe. Thanks guys for watching. My name's Neil Meekins. This was the Moto Chat Show. And remember, there's never a wrong way, not on a motorcycle. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye. Oh, and ride safe.